Good meeting this morning, Gary?
Yeah, it's always a good meeting. It's good to meet the board as a whole, because it's good to talk, and it's an important time coming up. And I always come out of a board meeting, Cheltenham board meeting, is very, very positive.
Did the chairman, give you what you wanted today?
Well, it wasn't. I couldn't actually give him names or things that were going to be happening tomorrow. I know people think it's a lot easier. It's very easy to get people in, but we're 1 point off the top. So what I've got to be careful of is bringing people in that don't suit us, just for the sake of bringing somebody in. I've got a lot of faith in this group of players. Watched the DVD from the game the other night, and yes, there was a lot of opportunities spurned, but I think we're second top goal scorers in the league. It's sort of one of those games. We do need to enhance the squad. Everybody's agreed with that. The board's agreed with that, etc. So it's up to me now to come up with the right people for the right value for money, and then I'm sure the board will give it a big tick and a yes, bring them in. Of course, we've got to keep an eye out on the boys that are out, and the boys that got to go out on loan, sort of thing, because that sort of balances it up a little bit. But listen, we're disappointed the other day, but we're in a healthy position as a football club, because we know what we're chasing, and we're going to chase the best we can for what we can afford.
Do you think a player, or maybe more than one, that you want to bring in are likely to be loans, or is there likely to be a free agent out there somewhere?
Well, they've got to be loans at the moment, because you can't sign. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, you're right. And I'm sure if the right free agent comes along, we'll bring him in, and he then can train with you for a couple of days, because we've got a couple of those in mind, to be honest with you. So we'll have a look at them. But of course, for permanent signings, you have to look at January. But we know we got a new signing that we're happy with come January, and that'll be Amari Morgan-Smith. So, but there's a lot of games between now and then, so we've got to make sure that we enhance the squad well enough that we're still challenging at that point.
On Thursday, you said you weren't sure whether Cheltenham as a club or Hartlepool as a club were happier with their position in life. In the wake of Saturday, would you still swap places with Ronnie Moore, or not?
I think Ronnie would swap places, yeah, I do. And with all due respect, on the day, I wouldn't swap any of my players for any of their players either. That's me, that's not Ronnie. And so, with that in mind, as I say, I've still got confidence in the squad. It was a frustrating day, really frustrating. I threw my hat down and my cap down, so one in one pocket, one in the other. A couple of times I could see on the video the supporters were sort of frustrated because they were getting behind the lads and they were off their seat, and then they were sitting down, and it was it was unbelievable how many opportunities there were there for us. But we're still in a healthy position of the competition. We need to be in a healthy position in. With all due respect, we're not going to win the FA Cup. We are gutted. You could see the boys' reactions or lack of reaction sort of at the end of the game when we just hit the crossbar. It was just a disbelief that we were out of the cup, because we deserved more. And they stood still for about 10-20 seconds before anybody moved after the whistle, and that's a genuine disappointment and frustration that we didn't win the game. Did I answer that first question?
You did, great. Tuesday, with Guiseley coming here, you can't stew on that result, can you? Probably a good thing that you can't stew on it.
Am I stewing? Do I look like I'm stewing? We've definitely got to move on. Of course we have, it's done. I think sometimes who motivates the motivator, and that board meeting today was motivation for me as well. Where people understood what happened, on as much as we needed to get through a few rounds and get Man United in the third round. We didn't, but the board appreciated that the lads gave their all on the day. Sometimes a lack of quality means you lose a game, or they could finish in or whatever it is. But we've also got to remember that it's not just the forwards when we talk about finishing. You know, midfielders have got to come up with shots. There wasn't enough shots. We've got to have rebounds. We've got to have quality crosses. You know, the forwards have got to have something to actually get on the end of. And the good thing about the board meeting today is that the directors understand that and they've seen that and they were at the game. So just by being at the game, I haven't got to explain to them how unlucky we was. They were there, they saw it. And so I always appreciate that when a board of directors travel that far to watch a game off their own steam.
Thoughts on Guiseley? One of your long-standing servants, Adam Lockwood, is there, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, lucky. He's been a great player for me over the years. The fact that he's 53 now will probably slow him up a little bit. No, he's brilliant. If you want a warrior and you want a leader, then Lockie's that. He also played for my son at Oldham as well. He was there for a little while, and he's a good one. He's one of the good ones, and he's had a good career. And obviously, Guiseley's probably pretty near where he lives and where he comes from, so it suits him and his lovely family. So that'd be nice to see him. But then I'm going to test him all through the game.
And how do you think they will set up? I mean, I think they've drawn 5 out of 8 away from home, so that suggests they're hard to break down.
Yeah, and at this level, I mean, even Hartlepool, I don't think they meant to play a defensive game, but we made them play that, and I think we have got enough quality to make teams defend deep and in numbers. So therefore, then we've got to have that quality and that ability to be able to break them down. On most occasions we have, on some we haven't, but that early goal is always important to make the opposition come out, and even then they don't come out early. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to have to expect teams to not come out against us necessarily and try and get numbers behind the ball and break on you. I'm sure that's the way they'll play against us as well at the Stadium of Smile. The Smile Stadium.
Well, that's what's behind you.
Yeah. It's behind you. Oh, look at that. Yeah. We might be able to show a video. What's that doing up there?
There you go.
You mentioned Amari being a new signing. How far is Elliot Richards away now from being ready?
Came up in the board meeting. He's on schedule. That's the best way of putting it. I think he wants to push himself a little bit more now. Obviously we're getting doctor's advice and everything, but he's certainly a lot fitter and getting fitter. But he's been through a very traumatic experience for his body and mental state. So, but he is getting there. He's enjoying his training. So he's not close enough for us yet to think that he's the answer to our another striker just yet, but he will be. They're still talking about him being at his best again come January, so we're sort of looking forward to the time when Elliot can produce his best football, and I know that he's working very hard with that sort of ideal scenario.
It is important that this situation is not used to sort of try and quicken that process up. It's got to be down to what the doctors say, what Elliot says.
Exactly.
Because it's an unknown situation, really, isn't it?
Well, it is, and if Elliot had his way, he'd want to be playing, and then whenever we sort of pick the subs, he sort of half cowers in the corner that he's a bit disappointed, but we're doing the right things by him, and he's still only a young fella, so he's got his whole career ahead of him, so we've got to do it right, really.
The other ones obviously would be an option, Harry and Bobby, who are both actually back with the club at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, well, Bobby's injured.
Yeah.
Bobby's got a problem with his knee at the moment, so he hasn't trained for 2 or 3 weeks, and it looks to be a little bit more longer term than first expected. But Harry's back and he's training, so he's part of the squad. Just obviously, if I pick him, it's because I think it's right. If I don't, then I think it's not quite right just yet.
Mm-hmm. How much of a problem has James Dayton given you, given what he's he showed on Saturday? Is he ready for starts now?
Well, it's a lovely problem because he showed a bit of quality when he came on. I think he's very close to being ready to start. You'll never know until you start him. He could start and maybe not finish, but then he's definitely one that, as you say, you got to have in your mind as far as that bit of quality that he gives in the final third,
especially against a side like Guiseley.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, do you want to give me your team now? I'll have a look at it.
That'll do.
Thank you, Gary.
Cheers, Gary.